Hey everybody, welcome to another shave of the day. Sunday morning, probably about 9 o'clock in the morning or so, I don't know. It's a casual Sunday morning shave. Today's shave, I'm going to be using Maggard razors, tobacco and leather soap. I love this soap, such a good smell, more leather than tobacco. In my opinion, it should be leather and tobacco, but either way, works good. Good soap. Crown King Scuttle, 24mm Silvertip Badger, and burl box elder. I'm going to be using my Rogers, I think this is a 6/8 full hollow, XY quality from Sheffield. And I don't know if that's faux ivory or real ivory. My gut tells me it's faux, but the blade is probably old enough that it could be real. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Looks good. Nice razor. Took a beautiful edge. Found this in a local antique shop. Took a beautiful edge. Love it. Good stuff. Good razor. So let's get going with this first pass. It's definitely the time of year where it's hot in this area. We have well over 100-degree temperatures by 10 o'clock in the morning. And I don't do well with the heat. It's hot. It's hot. Yesterday we spent the whole afternoon in the pool. Local pool opens at 1 o'clock. It's open from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. or 4:45 p.m. anyhow. And we got there right at 1 o'clock. We left at about 4:40, so they didn't actually have to ask us to leave the pool, but we were there all afternoon from open to close, because that's the only place to be when it's 103. It's hot. And it's going to be just as hot today. So we'll see, maybe we'll go to the pool again this afternoon if my kid wakes up. Yesterday was her birthday, 12th birthday. She's officially a teenager. And while I was ready to hit the sack at 11:30 last night, 6 o'clock this morning she was still playing video games. And as much as I don't like that, I don't like that she goes to bed at the same time that I'm waking up, I let it go for last night because it was her birthday. But I made sure she knew that that can't happen anymore. That's ridiculous. Going to bed at 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't care if it's summertime. She needs to save that nonsense for when she's 20 and 21, not 12. But we'll let it go on the birthday. Hope everybody had or is having a wonderful weekend. We are. It's a good weekend here. Like I said, it's hot. We got weather. We got hot weather. It's definitely summertime. And we're definitely enjoying it as much as we can. Between swamp coolers and swimming pools. We'll do it. We'll make it happen. Boy, look at that. It's good stuff. Good razor. Good blade. I like it. Not bad. I paid a little more for this razor than I wanted to. But given how easy it took an edge and how quality the edge is still, no idea what year this razor is, but after getting an edge on it, I'm not upset that I spent more than I actually wanted to. It's one of the more expensive razors that I own now, but it's a good shaver, so I'm not going to complain. It's definitely got a space in my rotation. Because it does its job very well, so we'll keep it. Some of the cheaper razors, the less expensive razors I should say, that I've bought, even the vintage ones, proved to be rather difficult to get a good quality edge on. So these ones that come out the antique store and just take an edge like they've been waiting for it make me happy, because they're easy. They're my favorite ones. Easy ones are favorites. If I can get a shave ready edge on a blade in less than an hour, woohoo! If I can't, it's okay, but boy, do I prefer the easy ones. Never claimed to be one of those people that likes to I do like to challenge myself, but every once in a while it's nice to just get an easy edge, and this was one of them. This one and my Allegheny Instruments, two of the easiest edges I've yet to experience. I mean, they both took an edge like they were waiting for it. It's like as soon as I touched into a stone, they had an agreement, and they sharpened right up, and they provide outstanding shape. I mean, look at that. That's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I'd like to find out if this is real ivory or faux ivory. Because if it's faux ivory, I wouldn't mind rescaling this thing. These scales are a little beat up. They're not in really bad shape. If they're real ivory, I'll keep them. They're in good enough shape that I could go either way with them. So if they're real ivory, I'd keep them. But knowing that I can clean real ivory up a lot. Pretty good. If they're faux ivory, then they're not really worth keeping. They're not worth anything other than being an original piece. But if they're plastic, then this is one of those blades that I wouldn't mind putting in chironite or one of the other newer synthetics, because those synthetic materials really look good. It's one of those blades that I wouldn't mind doing that to, but I'm not going to do it if it's real ivory, because real ivory is very difficult to come by. We'll be back in just a minute with pass number 2. Don't go away. Pass number 2. Welcome back. I had a little rinse here. Over the last week or so, I've been experimenting with my routine to see if I can improve the quality of my shaves. It's one thing I am always trying to improve the quality of my shave. I've never been big on touch-ups with the straight, because every time I do them, they leave me just a little bit irritated. Not enough to cause, pain or anything like that. I mean, it goes away. It's just a little bit. But it's enough to keep me from wanting to really work at the touch-ups. Over the last few days, I've incorporated a partial fourth pass to my shave, which is basically across the grain on the top of my head in the opposite direction after my against the grain pass. Not everywhere, just the top, because that's where I seem to have the most missed spots after the against the grain pass. And it's been giving me a cleaner shave, which ultimately is the goal. So Sorry I keep doing that. I get water that runs down, it gets stuck in my mustache and tickles my nose. It's no good. I'm not wiping snot all over my fingers, I promise. It's just water. But I know from your perspective it probably looks a little gross. Can't help it. It's got to be done. It tickles. It makes me uncomfortable. I'll show you this. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world that's a little weird these days. Finding the irony in people's attitudes it would be really amusing if it wasn't so infuriating sometimes. We've got, you know, it was only a couple of months ago when we had people from my generation, you know, I'm in my 40s, but it's only a couple of months ago when people from my generation were complaining that kids younger than us, all they did was sit in the house. They never left the house. They never did anything. They never got out and socialized. And now they've got this Pokemon game that, by its very design, gets kids out of the house, gets them out there socializing, gets them out there working together, working with other enthusiasts to catch these Pokemon or whatever. And now people are complaining about that. And it's like, make up your mind. You want kids to sit in the house all day? Or do you want them to get out and get out in public and socialize? And don't give me this nonsense about, well, they shouldn't be attached to their technology. I agree. But that's our fault. It's not their fault. They grow up and they're growing up in a world that doesn't know what it means to not have a cell phone. I remember not having a cell phone. I remember getting my first cell phone. I remember the first computer we got in school. And I wasn't a little kid. I was in, you know, junior high, 7th grade when we got our first computers in school. In the mid-80s, early 80s. So while my generation remembers life before digital technology, my kid doesn't. And if I'm going to yell at her to get off her butt and go do something outside, I can't really get mad at her for doing that with technology. Because I'm the one that puts it in her hands. I'm the one that makes it this necessary evil that I have to live with. And she grows up watching me with a cell phone in my pocket every day. How can I expect her to be any different? I mean, are these people forgetting that we're the ones that teach our kids? We're the ones that show them what's important? If you're sitting there on Saturday morning while your kid's watching cartoons, and you're on your laptop with your cup of coffee, or you're on your cell phone with your cup of coffee, or, you know, you got your little Blueberries, your Blackberries, your iPhones, your iPads, your iPods, your Netflix, your DVDs, and you know, our entire lives revolve around technology. What right do we have to get mad at the kids when theirs does too? To me, it seems kind of ridiculous. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous to tell kids that these are the things that are important to us, and then say, but it can't be important to you. Because I'm sorry, kid playing Pokemon Go on their cell phone is no worse than Joe Schmo average sitting there on Facebook or tweeting or YouTube or whatever else you have out there that requires technology. I mean, we're constantly connected through this wonderful, wonderful digital space of the internet that as adults we rely on for the simplest of day-to-day tasks And then you're going to get mad at our 12, 13, 15, 19, 20-year-old kids taking that to the next logical step. I don't get it. Y'all gotta pick your battles. You gotta see, you gotta understand that the reason our kids are like this is because we've made them like this, because we've used this digital technology as our own personal babysitters from the time that they're 2 years old till now, and now we're going to try and take it away from them because we don't like the game they chose? Come on. Anyhow, we'll be right back for pass number 3. Don't go nowhere. So welcome back, pass number 3. Pokemon. And the other thing is, I have noticed a trend, both online and in real life, of kids that suffer from various forms of autism, various deficiencies that fall along the autism spectrum disorder. These kids that have spent their whole lives terrified the world around them because they don't understand it, because they can't comprehend it the same way that we do. Because to us it's just life, but to them it's a bombardment of information that they can't process and deal with. And you see these kids, and by kids I mean everything from 8 to 28, running around with their cell phones or their parents' cell phones or their iPads, and they're talking to complete strangers. And they're not just talking, but communicating. Hey, this is a Pokemon spot. Can you help me? To a complete and total stranger, which is unheard of for a lot of these kids. A lot of these kids can't talk to people they've known their whole lives. They can't communicate that well. And all of a sudden, because of this game, they're able to. And above and beyond anything, and also PTSD suffering vets that have been unable to cope with the outside world since they've come back. Finding this game is able to give them that social interaction that's been lacking. And you're gonna knock that? You're gonna get mad that kids are walking around staring at their cell phones when you don't know what that kid faces every day. You don't know what that person faces. It doesn't have to be a kid. You don't know what struggles that person goes through. You don't know what that person is doing when they don't have that game going on. You have no right to judge that. Who are you to say, oh, if you're over 24, you need to put the game down and go get a job? That person could be a banker. You don't know what they are. They might make $1.5 million a year. You have no clue. You just want to talk. You just want to open your big damn mouth and feel superior to somebody else because they choose to enjoy their day in a different way. And that, I gotta tell you, that aggravates the shit out of me. I can't stand that. And you might call me judgmental for judging those people that are down on the kids playing the games. Cool. That's fine, because it's true. I am judging them. But I'm judging one specific thing, not everything about that person based on one thing they've said. So because I'm an arrogant prick myself, because I am one of those people that isn't afraid to tell somebody, a complete stranger, to go pound sand, I downloaded the game. And I was playing with it last night with my daughter. We were out 10 o'clock at night walking around town, pokey spots, collecting pokeballs and looking for Pokemon. And there were a lot of other people out playing the game as well. And me, I gotta be honest with you. I don't care about the game. It's mindless entertainment, and that's fine. And I've always been a fan of mindless entertainment. But the main reason that I walk around with my phone in my hand is because I'm just jonesing for the opportunity for some random stranger that doesn't know me, doesn't know my kid, to try and give me a hard time about being a 43-year-old man playing a game. Because that person will get an earful and will hear everything that I have to say on the subject. And maybe that's the wrong reason to get the game. But if I can help some mindless wonder get over their own biases and their own prejudices and their own tendencies to judge others. Ouch. A little bit of a slice there. That sucked. I hate these bones in the back of my ears. I've said it before, but man, do they get in the way. But if I can create an opportunity to put one of these people in their place, I would be happy to. Because Lord knows these kids that struggle with these disorders that are playing the game, they aren't going to be able to put you in your place. So if you're going to say it to them, or if you're going to post it on Facebook, hide behind the internet, come look for me. I'm out there playing the game. I got no problem. We can have the conversation. And if you're going to be rude to me about it, you should probably be aware that I am not one of these people that's just going to say, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't say anything back. No, I'll say it back. I got a big mouth. It gets me in enough trouble for nonsense. I might as well get myself in trouble for something worthwhile. Sticking up for some of these kids that are just trying to get through the day with something that isn't, you know, it's not a violent game. It's not a game that involves any kind of nudity or sexuality. There's no death, there's no gunfire, there's no destruction, there's no... It's the most innocent game out there. And people still gotta have a problem with it. And that's where I have an issue. It's like, come on. Don't you have better things to get upset about than an innocent game that's getting kids outside, walking around, interacting with each other? I just think it's silly. I think the people that have a problem with stuff like that need to step outside their own world for a minute, shut the F up, and let other people make their own life choices. Stop being judgmental. Stop thinking you know something that nobody else knows, because you don't. You don't. In fact, just the opposite. You don't know what that person's going through. You don't know what that game might be accomplishing for that person. You don't know. You just don't know. And if you don't know, you should keep your mouth shut. And at the end of the day, you don't know. Just keep your mouth shut. Leave people alone. Let people make their own choices. There's too much of this nonsense in the world. And people thinking they have a right to choose for somebody else. You don't. You don't. Y'all gotta make our own way. Let it go. Leave it be. It's a game. It's a game. And yeah, people are being stupid. Of course. Human beings are stupid. There are stupid people out there that are going to step out in front of traffic because they're looking at their phone. Probably get hit by a car. There are people out there that are going to try to play this game while they're driving. That's stupidity. That's not the game's fault. That's that individual's fault. That person is a dummy. So what? That person will suffer the consequences of their actions, just like anybody else. It's not the game's fault. It's not the fault of the other players that are out there being intelligent about it. And to be honest with you, when you turn the game on, the loading screen says right there, be aware of your environment. Make sure you pay attention to what's going on around you. It has the disclaimer, it has the warning, it has everything that it should have in place. Just got stupid people. And you got stupid parents that aren't paying attention to their kids. They're letting their little 8-year-old kids run around with their cell phone, which I don't have a problem with that so much. But you should know your child. And you should know if your child is one of these kids that gets so involved that they lose focus on everything else and would run out into the street, or if your child is one of these kids that can enjoy the game without losing complete focus and still knows how to conduct themselves in a responsible manner. And if your kid can conduct themselves in a responsible manner, then good job. You did a good job. You raised a good kid. If they can't, that's on you. That's not the game. That's not the game. That's you. That's you and your kid being dumbasses, letting technology get in the way. It's not the technology's fault because, truth be told, if your kid is one of those dumbasses that can't pay attention to their surroundings while they're playing a video game, then, and this is going to sting. This is going to hurt you a little bit, but if your kid can't pay attention to what's going on around them when they're playing on their phone, it's probably because they learned that from you. You're probably the type of dumbass that can't pay attention when they're texting on the phone. You're the type of dumbass that drives down the highway at 75 miles an hour with your phone in one hand and the steering wheel in the other. That's the problem. That's where your kid learned it. That ain't the game's fault. That's your fault. So shut your pie hole. Take a look at home. Look in your own backyard. See what you're teaching your kids. And stop judging other kids. Stop judging other people. Stop judging the way other people raise their children. Because we are responsible for our kids. We are responsible for their attitudes. We are responsible for the way that they interact with the world. And if you can't take responsibility for that onto yourself, you have no right to place that blame on a video game, a movie, a song, a musician, or anything else in the world. I grew up in a time when people were trying to blame Kiss and Judas Priest because kids were killing themselves, instead of looking at home and realizing that the reason kids were killing themselves is because you were an asshole to them. It had nothing to do with the music. It had to do with a miserable, shitty-ass life. And they felt like they couldn't get any better. And rather than changing that aspect of that child's home, you decided to blame the music. And it didn't bring your kid back. And it didn't make things any better. All it did was pass the buck. And this is the same thing. This is no damn different. This is no different. Because at the end of the day, the dumbass kid is going to run out in front of a car, whether he's chasing a Pokemon, talking on his cell phone, or just lost in his own little world. The reasoning is inconsequential. The result is the same. So look in your own backyard. Take responsibility for the way you raise your children. Stop trying to blame a video game, which in and of itself hasn't got the ability to do anything. Anyhow, yeah, if you heard this rant and you think I'm wrong, come look for me. And that's not a threat, that's not me being a tough guy, that's not saying, oh yeah, I'll beat your ass. No. Come look for me. We'll have a conversation, we'll discuss it. Because just because. Anyhow, I'm off the topic. That's it. We're done. That's another shave in the bag, folks. Let's recap a little bit. Soap was Maggard razors, tobacco and leather, which I think should be leather and tobacco, but it is tobacco and leather. It's got a brilliant, sweet leather scent. I love it. The tobacco is in the background. The leather is up front. Wonderful, wonderful scent. I love the smell of leather anyhow, so of course that makes me happy. I did use my 24mm Silvertip Badger in burl box elder, Crown King scuttle, and the razor of choice was the Rogers XY quality 6/8, I believe, full hollow in white scales, white intricate scales. I don't know, I'm going to try and find out if this is real ivory or faux. But that's another shave in the bag, folks. Be nice to each other. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And if you're one of those people, mind your own business. It's that simple. Mind your business. People got to do what they got to do. Take it easy. Keep it smiling. Keep it happy. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Always thanks for watching. You have a good week. Bye.